When you look at the people you admire most, the ones who seem to achieve the impossible, it's easy to believe they were born with something special. But the truth is far less glamorous and far more empowering. They weren't born extraordinary. They became extraordinary because they mastered one thing most people never fully commit to: self-discipline. Self-discipline is not about punishing yourself or living a joyless life. It's about living with intention, about shaping your future with deliberate choices instead of letting the world shape it for you. It's the quiet power behind every success story, the invisible force that makes the difference between I wish and I did. Tonight, I want to challenge you to see discipline in a new way, not as a burden, but as the greatest freedom you will ever give yourself. Because when you are disciplined, you're not at the mercy of your moods, your impulses, or the opinions of others. You're in control, and control over yourself is the most valuable asset you will ever own. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share the truth about self-discipline, what it really takes, why most people fail, and how you can build it into the very DNA of your daily life. If you stay with me until the end, you will walk away with more than motivation. You will walk away with a blueprint, a way of living that will make every goal, every dream, and every vision you've been holding on to not just possible, but inevitable. Let me expand key point 1 For your speech self-discipline into an 800 word, smooth, motivational segment in the same persuasive tone as the introduction. We live in a world that constantly tempts us with the easy choice. It's everywhere, on our phones, in our kitchens, in the way we spend our evenings. We are surrounded by opportunities to feel good even if it costs us everything we truly want later. That's why so many people get trapped in cycles of frustration. They want change, but they keep feeding the very habits that hold them back. The truth is, the real test of self-discipline is whether you can delay the comfort of today for the reward of tomorrow. And that's never easy, because your brain will try to convince you that the present moment is all that matters. Think about it. Every time you choose to sleep in instead of getting up to work on your goal, you've given the present the power to steal from your future. Every time you spend money to impress people instead of investing it to secure your dreams, you've chosen a fleeting feeling over long-term stability. These choices may seem small in the moment, but over time, they decide the direction of your entire life. People often mistake self-discipline for restriction. They think it means saying no to everything fun or exciting. But in reality, discipline is about saying yes to your bigger vision. It's not about denying yourself. It's about protecting your future from being stolen by your impulses. When you understand that, your mindset changes. You stop feeling like you're missing out, and you start feeling like you're building something that can't be taken away from you. Choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure is uncomfortable. You'll be tempted to quit. You'll watch others indulge and feel left behind. And in those moments, you have to remember, the difference between success and mediocrity is invisible in the short term. No one will applaud you for going to the gym today instead of sleeping in. No one will notice when you pass on the party to work on your business. No one will celebrate when you choose to read and learn instead of mindlessly scrolling. But over time, those decisions compound into something undeniable. One day, people will call you lucky, without realizing that luck was built in thousands of private moments when you chose the hard thing over the easy one. Your life is shaped not by the big decisions you make once or twice, but by the small decisions you make every day. The coffee you skip to save money, the workout you push through when you're tired, the late night you spend studying instead of watching another episode. Every time you choose what's right over what's easy, You're casting a vote for the person you want to become. And those votes add up. It's important to understand that self-discipline doesn't just happen. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly have the willpower to make every good decision. It's a muscle you train. You start small with one choice, one habit, one commitment, and you keep showing up for it. You hold yourself accountable when no one else will. And with time, you realize that discipline becomes less about willpower and more about identity. You're not just forcing yourself to do the right thing. You become the person who does the right thing without needing to think twice. We live in an age where distractions are not just available. They're engineered to pull you in. The algorithms are designed to keep you scrolling. The marketing is designed to make you spend. The convenience is designed to make you comfortable. So if you want to live a life that's extraordinary, you can't play by the same rules as everyone else. You have to train yourself to see beyond the next 5 minutes. You have to be able to say, yes, this would feel good now, but I know what will feel better in 5 years. And then you have to act on that knowledge. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop asking yourself, what do I feel like doing right now? And start asking, what will I be glad I did later? That simple question changes everything. Because your feelings are fleeting, they'll tell you to skip the hard work and take the easy way out. But your future self will thank you for every disciplined choice you make today. You will have days when you fail. We all do. You'll give in to the temptation, you'll skip the task, you'll make the wrong choice. But discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up again even after you've stumbled. It's about proving to yourself that your vision matters more than your excuses. When you consistently choose long-term gain over short-term pleasure, you are not just achieving goals, you are becoming unstoppable. You are building a life that doesn't depend on circumstances, moods, or external motivation. You're becoming the kind of person who can trust themselves completely because you've proven over and over that you will do what you said you would do. And that is the foundation of every great success story. If you want, I can now *** move straight into key point 2 with a smooth transition ***, so the audience stays locked in without feeling a break in momentum. This way the speech flows like a single powerful message. Here's your **800 word expansion for key point 2 ** in the same motivational, persuasive flow. Motivation is exciting. It's that rush of energy you feel when you decide you're finally going to change your life. It's powerful, it's inspiring, and it can push you to take those first steps. But motivation is also unreliable. It comes and goes without warning. One day you wake up ready to conquer the world, and the next, you can barely convince yourself to get out of bed. And that's where most people lose. They depend on motivation to carry them, forgetting that motivation is a spark, not the fuel that keeps the fire burning. The truth is, the people who consistently achieve their goals aren't the ones who feel inspired every day. They're the ones who keep going even when they don't. They don't wait to be in the mood to do the work. They've built systems, routines, and habits that make progress inevitable. They've turned the right actions into something automatic, something that happens whether they feel like it or not. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning and ask yourself if you feel inspired to brush them. You just do it. It's a habit, a part of your day that happens without negotiation. That's how your routines for success need to be, so ingrained in your life that skipping them feels unnatural. And the way to get there isn't by relying on bursts of motivation. It's by creating structure that supports your goals no matter what mood you're in. Building routines that work for you isn't about making your life boring or robotic. It's about creating a foundation that frees your mind from constant decision making, because every time you leave a decision up to your feelings, you give procrastination a chance to win. But when you have a set structure, the decision is already made. You just follow through. Start by identifying the small, consistent actions that matter most to your goals. If you want to be healthier, maybe it's a morning workout or preparing your meals ahead of time. If you want to grow in your career, maybe it's setting aside an hour each day for learning or strategic thinking. And once you know what those actions are, schedule them as non-negotiable parts of your day. Not if I have time tasks, but locked-in commitments you plan around. Here's the key: routines protect you from your own excuses. On days when you feel tired, uninspired, or distracted, your routine steps in and says, "This is what we do." You don't need to wrestle with the decision, you just do the thing. That's how progress happens on the days when most people would give up. Of course, creating a routine that truly works means designing it for sustainability. You can't overhaul your entire life overnight and expect it to stick. Discipline is built gradually, and routines grow stronger when they're realistic. Start small, prove to yourself that you can follow through, and then build from there. It's far better to start with a simple 20-minute workout every morning than to attempt a 2-hour session you'll quit after 3 days. Another important part of building routines is removing unnecessary friction. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your clothes and shoes the night before, so there's no hesitation when you wake up. If you want to write daily, keep your workspace ready and your tools within reach. Small details like these make it easier to take action, which means you're more likely to stick to your plan even when your energy is low. And here's something most people don't think about. Routines don't just keep you consistent, they also save your energy for the things that really matter. When the basic structure of your day is already set, your mind is free to focus on the deeper, more meaningful work that moves you forward. You stop wasting willpower on tiny decisions, and you start investing it in building your vision. The most successful people in the world don't rely on the unpredictable nature of motivation. They rely on habits so strong that skipping them isn't an option. They show up for their routines like clockwork, not because they're superhuman, but because they've eliminated the need for constant internal battles. And let's be honest, there will always be days when the last thing you want to do is stick to the plan. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're stressed, maybe life just feels heavy. But that's when your routines matter most. That's when showing up, especially when you don't feel like it, builds the resilience and self-trust that make you unstoppable. Because if you can stay consistent when everything in you says stop, then there's nothing you can't do when conditions are ideal. Over time, something incredible happens. The routine that once felt like discipline becomes part of who you are. You no longer have to force yourself to show up, you just do, because it's what you do, and that shift is powerful. It's the moment when your goals stop feeling like distant dreams and start becoming a natural result of how you live your life. Motivation is the spark that starts the fire, but your routines are the wood that keeps it burning. Without them, the fire will die out the moment the wind changes. With them, it will burn steady, no matter what storms come your way. And that is the kind of consistency that builds everything you've ever wanted. If you'd like, I can now expand **, key point 3 * in the same seamless style, so the speech keeps its emotional and motivational momentum. That way, it flows like a single powerful delivery from start to finish. Here's your **800. Word expansion for key point 3 asterisk asterisk in the same confident motivational style. No matter how strong your goals are or how detailed your plans may be, there will come a moment when your emotions will try to pull you off course. It might be frustration when things don't move as fast as you want. It might be fear when you step into something unfamiliar. It might be doubt whispering that maybe you're not good enough, or anger when someone questions your ability. These moments are inevitable, but they are also defining, because discipline is not only about controlling your actions, it's about mastering your emotions so they don't control you. The reality is, feelings are fleeting, but the consequences of letting them run your life are permanent. If you allow your emotions to dictate your decisions, you will constantly be starting over, losing progress, and wondering why your results never match your effort. You can be motivated one day and discouraged the next. You can be focused in the morning and distracted by the afternoon. Without emotional control, every obstacle feels like a reason to stop, and every setback becomes an excuse. True discipline begins when you stop letting temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. It's when you can feel doubt but still move forward. It's when you can feel tired but still finish the work. It's when you can feel criticized but still hold your head high and continue building. That's the level of emotional strength that separates those who talk about their goals from those who live them. We live in a culture that encourages instant emotional expression. Say what you feel, react immediately, let everyone know your opinion. But here's the thing, reacting is easy, responding is powerful. Reacting is emotional, responding is intentional. And discipline is about choosing the intentional response over the emotional reaction, even when your pride is screaming for the opposite. When someone criticizes you, your first instinct might be to defend yourself or lash out. But what if instead you use that energy to focus on your goals? When you feel stressed, your instinct might be to avoid the challenge. But what if you leaned into the discomfort and used it as a signal that you're growing? That's emotional mastery, not the absence of feelings, but the ability to channel them toward your purpose. This is why self-awareness is such a critical part of discipline. You have to know your triggers, those moments, words, or situations that make you want to quit or act against your own interests. Once you identify them, you can plan for them. You can create strategies to pause, to breathe, to step back before you make a choice that doesn't serve you. That pause can be the difference between derailing your progress and staying on track. Some people think emotional control means suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. That's not it. Your emotions are real, and they can even be useful when directed well. Anger can fuel determination. Fear can sharpen awareness. Excitement can push you to act boldly. The key is to be the driver, not the passenger. Let your emotions ride with you, but never hand them the steering wheel. And here's the truth no one likes to admit. Discipline sometimes feels lonely because you're not reacting the way the world expects you to. People might say you're cold, distant, or even unfeeling when you don't get swept up in drama. But that's not coldness, it's focus. It's the understanding that your energy is too valuable to waste on battles that don't matter. When you master your emotions, you protect your consistency. You can keep showing up for your routines and your commitments regardless of what's happening around you. Life will always be unpredictable. People will always have opinions. Challenges will always arise. But when you train yourself to respond with discipline instead of react with emotion, you stay steady in the storm. That steadiness is rare and it's magnetic. People notice when you don't break under pressure. They notice when you handle criticism with grace. They notice when you can remain calm while others are losing control. And whether they admit it or not, they respect it. Because deep down, They know it takes strength to stand firm when emotions are screaming at you to give in. You can practice emotional control every single day. It's in the moment you choose not to send that angry message. It's in the moment you keep working after a disappointment instead of shutting down. It's in the moment you take a deep breath, remember your bigger vision, and make the choice that serves your future instead of your mood. Over time, this mastery becomes part of who you are. You start to notice that you're less reactive, less impulsive, less affected by things that used to throw you off. You stop wasting days recovering from emotional setbacks because you don't let them knock you down in the first place. And that kind of stability is a competitive advantage most people never develop. In the end, self-discipline is impossible without emotional discipline. You can't follow through on your plans if your emotions can talk you out of them. But when you learn to feel without being ruled by your feelings, you unlock a level of strength that can carry you through any challenge. Because the person who can master their emotions can master their life. If you want, I can now craft *** key point 4 * in the exact same seamless flow. So the entire self-discipline speech reads like one continuous, commanding delivery from start to finish. Here's your ** 800 word expansion for key point 4 * in the same confident, motivational, and seamless style. There comes a moment when you realize no one is coming to check on you. No one is going to stand over your shoulder, making sure you follow through on what you said you would do. No one is going to care about your goals as much as you do. And that's the reality most people struggle with. We grow up in a world where accountability often comes from the outside teachers grading assignments, bosses setting deadlines, coaches pushing us in training. But at some point, the responsibility shifts entirely to you, and that's when self-discipline reaches its highest form, holding yourself accountable every single day. External accountability can be helpful, but it's also a crutch. It's easy to show up when someone is watching. It's easy to put in effort when there's immediate feedback. But the real test of character is what you do when there's no audience, no scoreboard, and no one to applaud you for staying committed. Those quiet, unseen moments are where discipline is forged. The truth is, if you have to rely on someone else to make you do the work, you will always be limited by their presence. But when you learn to hold yourself accountable, your growth is no longer dependent on anyone else's schedule, approval, or encouragement. You become your own coach, your own critic, and your own motivator. Holding yourself accountable isn't just about keeping promises. It's about keeping your promises to yourself . And that's harder than it sounds. We break commitments to ourselves far more easily than we break them to others, because we know we can get away with it. We rationalize, we make excuses, we tell ourselves, "I'll start tomorrow." But every time we do that, we teach ourselves that our own word doesn't matter. And once you stop trusting yourself, everything falls apart. That's why the most successful people treat personal commitments as unbreakable. If they set a goal, it becomes non-negotiable. If they set a standard, they hold themselves to it even when no one else would know if they slipped. It's not about perfection, it's about integrity. It's about knowing that your progress, your results, and your future depend on you being honest with yourself. One of the most powerful ways to build self-accountability is to track your progress relentlessly, not for validation but for clarity. Write down your daily actions, review your performance, and be brutally honest about whether you did what you said you would do. Numbers don't lie, and neither do habits. You can tell yourself you're working hard, but the record will always reveal the truth. And when you fall short, and you don't sugarcoat it, you don't make excuses, and you don't hide from it. You face it directly, you take responsibility, and you make the adjustment. Blaming circumstances, people, or bad luck might feel good in the moment, but it robs you of the power to change. When you own the results, you own the ability to improve them. Self-accountability also means raising your own standards. It's easy to coast once you've made some progress. It's easy to look around and think, I'm doing better than most. But discipline is about refusing to settle for better than most, and instead aiming for your personal best. It's about constantly asking yourself, could I do more? Could I do better? And then acting on the answer. This level of discipline requires humility, because you have to be willing to admit that you're not yet where you could be. It requires honesty, because you can't pretend you're giving your all when you know deep down you're holding back. And it requires courage, because sometimes holding yourself accountable means making hard changes, cutting out distractions, removing toxic influences, and confronting habits that are comfortable, destructive. The beautiful thing is, once you start living this way, your confidence skyrockets. Not because everything is easy, but because you know you can rely on yourself. You no longer fear challenges because you trust your ability to show up for them. You no longer depend on motivation because you have the discipline to take action anyway. And that self-trust is the foundation for lasting success. When you live with this kind of self-accountability, people notice. They see the consistency, the results, the quiet determination. They might not see the hours of work you put in, but they'll see the outcome, and they'll call it talent or luck or natural ability. But you'll know it's none of those things. It's simply the result of showing up for yourself every single day, whether anyone else was watching or not. At the end of the day, your life will be shaped not by the goals you set, but by the standards you enforce. And no one else can enforce them for you. It has to be you. It has to be you in the early mornings and the late nights, in the moments when no one would know if you skipped the work, in the days when progress feels invisible. Because the truth is, the person who holds themselves accountable becomes unstoppable. If you want, I can now ** merge all 4 expanded key points plus your intro into one unified self-discipline, speech ***, so it reads as one seamless, powerful delivery without breaks. That way it's ready to deliver word for word